This is the Aurora from Kristal Knives. It's designed by Ivan Braganets, a Russian custom knife maker and designer. And I got this through Levon of the Knife Nuts podcast. If you follow him on Instagram, you know he has like the ultimate collection of knives, and he always has the newest stuff. He always has what's right in the offing in his own collection. And recently he started an import business, importing Russian knives. I think this is, I don't know, maybe the 4th or 5th one he's had on offer. I think he's got, I don't know, maybe 6 of them. I'm not sure if I'm overestimating, but it started, I think, with the Rocat, also designed by Braganets, the knife that started his importing. Anyway, he started bringing in these Kristal knives. There's another one from this brand. And then one Saturday morning, I'm lying there in bed, checking in on Instagram, seeing what everyone's got and what they're carrying. And I saw this. He was showing this off, and I jumped on it. I rarely do stuff like that. I rarely just buy a knife as soon as I see it. But this one I did. And, you know, kind of got up so that I could buy this undetected. And, man, I'm glad I did. So the thing that really caught my eye, of course, is the same thing that's catching your eye, this really cool drop point blade or spear point blade. It's kind of a spear in its symmetricalness, but this giant fuller running down both sides. To me, both unique and menacing. Menacing because it almost has the feel of an instrument of, what's the word? Desanguination. It looks like something, you know how sometimes people call fullers blood grooves or blood gutters? To me, this truly looks like something like that. Like you would push it into something like flesh, and then blood would come streaming out on both sides through this channel. Of course, that's just my imagination at play, because this is just a knife, and these fullers are just here for lightening the blade and for style. But they really did catch my eye and capture my imagination, so I jumped right on it. So I say lightening the blade, and man alive, is this a really light knife. You can't really tell from my doing this, but it is extremely light. And I think part of that is from that blade, a material reduction from that fuller. And then, of course, you look inside and it's really nicely pocketed out and lightened there. Titanium removed from the inside, portions of the scale in giant pockets, and it really makes this thing extremely light. Another thing that I think these fullers do is help reduce the width of the blade in a sort of abrupt fashion. So up here, you can see it's relatively it's decently thick blade stock, but behind the edge, it's just so wickedly thin. And I think that fuller helps to really reduce the width in an extreme fashion. Sorry, early in the morning, but I wanted to show this thing off. I look at it, and to me, it has a Russian look. Some knives, knives from South Africa, knives from Poland, definitely knives from Russia, they seem to have certain design elements that are just identifiable. And I'm not exactly sure, I can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe it's the lines, maybe it's the milling, surface milling, maybe it's that nice pocket clip. But this thing just looks Russian to me. Something I really love about this knife is the action. Okay, so it's on bearings and it pops out easily using these thumb studs / blade stops here. It comes out great from the flipper. So it's its deployment is super smooth and super sort of quick on those bearings. And then when you close it, it doesn't quite fall shut. You can shake it shut, but what I love is that aspect. You feel the sort of hydraulic action of a Sebenza. It kind of has a Sebenza feel, a little bit smoother or easier closing than a Sebenza. Doesn't require quite as much as exertion, but it's that smooth sort of closing that doesn't fall shut, and I really like that. Comes out super quick like that, and then, you know, requires a little bit of guidance, you know, like a rambunctious teenager. It requires a little bit of guidance home with the closing of it. It doesn't just fall and want to chop your finger off, and I really like that about this. But I guess the thing I like the most about it is just its really beautiful design. It's very thin and lightweight too. So as summer comes on, I start wearing bathing suits and shorts and stuff, this will ride with me with no problem. And it'll be barely noticeable in the pocket. Just noticeable enough to remember that you've got it. Really nicely detailed. The jimping here, yeah, it's good for indexing. You can tell where your thumb is from that, but it doesn't grip at all. This on the side though does provide quite a bit of grip. And it continues around onto the clip. There's your K on the logo. I mean on the pivot, that sort of pivot logo. Logo pivot. I think that's a nice touch. It's got the lock bar insert there. Just a cool knife, man. Really digging it. And also in reverse grip, if heaven forbid you need it for reverse grip to slam it into a 55-gallon drum full of Uzis or something. That's a reference to Dogs of War. You can hook over. I really like the shape of the pommel. That's what I'm getting at. Shape of the pommel is nice. You can hook your thumb over the top. Got a nice lanyard slot, and they look proprietary, but I imagine you can get a flathead screwdriver in there to undo it. However, the slots look a little wide, so you might mar them if it doesn't fit in there perfectly. So not so sure about that. But really, this blade is the star of the show. It is cool looking, beautiful looking, and just incredibly thin right here on this portion, which makes it a great slicer. And you know, slip it in some plastic and it just, the material yawns away in front of it as if afraid to engage that edge. All right, let me show you a couple of size comparisons and just comparisons. I don't have too many knives like this right now, I realize. Not too many titanium frame lock flippers. But anyway, I'll show it with, here it is with a standard paramilitary 2, just so you get a size idea. And here it is with a larger flipper, the 0452 CF by ZT. It's a nice big folder. So this is a 3.5 inch blade. All right. TRM Atom. I think I selected this because it's got basically the same dimensions and a similar blade in its sort of neutral drop point shape. And then since I mentioned the Sebenza before, and this is what I was talking about, just the closing of it being a very smooth, but requiring a little bit of guidance from your thumb or whatever, about the same size as a Sebenza. One of my favorite recent new titanium frame lock flippers. This is the 3-inch bladed tactile Rockwall. a knife that's been making a bit of a splash lately also. And just on character, I decided to show it here with the Spidey Chef that I've had modified by Mike Emler. Different, obviously very different knives, but they both have a sort of uniqueness. I don't know. And then finally, with one of my favorite titanium frame lock flippers, the very different but super smooth and cool Riot K2. So a little bit bigger than the, or a little bit smaller than the K2. So go, if you don't follow him on Instagram, Levon Knife Nuts, and forgive me, I can't quite think of his Instagram handle at the moment, but I think it's Knife Nuts Levon or something like that. And check out all the different knives he has on offer. I think he has 2 different Kristal knives that are very similar to one another, but very different from this. Clip point, large, really cool, lots of milling in the handle. He's got the Rocat with an exclusive with a sort of a reddish tan micarta handle. And then he's got this new one, also from Russia, and it's a big black sort of tactical looking knife. It's longer than this. I think it's about a 4.5-inch blade, and it opens by sliding the top scale forward and then sort of giving it some wrist, and it whips out. That's a really cool one too. I got a chance to pick them all up and try them all out at Blade Show. You know, Blade Show. I'm going to be talking about that forever, so just buckle up because it was quite an experience. It was also an experience meeting Levon. He's a cool guy. He's a funny man. He's one of these people that you meet who's just naturally funny. And you can kind of get that from his Instagram feed as well. Just like you can get this knife. So check it out. This is the Kristal Aurora from Kristal Knives, designed by Ivan Braganets, and on offer by the great and powerful Levon of Knife Nuts. All right, thank you for watching.